This is the Zepplin Bend, so called because it was once used to tie down airships back in the time when, blimps were a more common thing than they are right now. It was ideally suited to that task because when you take these two handles right here and pull those apart, there's no additional fuss, unlike the closely related butterfly, in getting those apart. They just are apart. Let's tie a butterfly bend right now to show you the difference here. When you grab the handles of the butterfly bend and you pull, it retains. Not so with a Zepplin bend. The Zepplin bend is by far my favorite kind of bend. Start with an eye, where your tail is behind the standing end and emerging upwards. Then come in from the bottom and wrap around and go over the top. They're symmetrical if you were to rotate it. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to be visually confusing. Then wrap around in between the two and put those around between the two. Make sure those ends don't get lost and pull it finished. When you're done, the ends should extend perpendicularly away from the mount itself. This is one of the strongest bends, and that's why it's one of my favorites. It's stronger than the double fisherman's bend. It's stronger than all kinds of things. It's also very easy to untie. The only difficulty is in actually teaching it to people in the first place, because if this is your first bend, or if this is the first knot that you're learning outside of tying your shoelaces, it can be kind of a lot to keep track of, but once you've got it, and it is just the best. Leave yourself some tails. I usually, when I'm tying it for myself, I'll usually shorten it up to about here. And if you notice, as I'm doing this, it is actually a it's a pair of overhand knots that are interlinked in a very particular way. You can use it to tie a loop, but don't, because if you wanted to use this to tie a loop, you would have to put an overhand in first and then tie this around it. The process is different. It's kind of a mess, but while we're at it, I might as well show you the overall process of tying it with, starting with an overhand knot. Now you can already identify some of the basic features here. You can see that the standing end comes in, wraps around, and then the tail wants to proceed perpendicular from that. You have to be going in a complementary direction. So if this one goes in and goes over the tail, this one has to go in and go under the tail. And it will be to the outside there before wrapping around, going through both holes there. And if it's done correctly, it should look identical on both sides. Very good. You will probably notice that anytime I have a two-strand or two-color paracord item, like a bracelet or something like that, that the way that I join those two ends is always with a well-dressed Zepplin bend, because if you have to just take it apart and go, I want it to have the strongest possible knot for the lowest possible volume, which is that nice little Zepplin bend. And then I would form the bottom of the loop and then braid hereafter. If you wanted to see a zipper Sinnet, go ahead and click through right there, or see the first link down in the comments if you are on a non-YouTube service. Or even if you are on a regular YouTube service, maybe you're on mobile. Okay, there we go. Alright, if you have found this to be helpful, and I really hope that you have, give me a like to raise my ranking in search results. Give me a subscription to see more videos like this in the future whenever they get made, or if you want to incentivize them being made, you can support me on Patreon, where you subscribe based on what you want to subscribe for, as to provide incentive for me to create more of the kinds of videos that you want me to make. And it makes sure that the channel would stay ad-free and so on. Other details to be discussed in the discussion video, which I have either down here or in the comments if you are on anywhere that you can't click the screen. You can also help out by sharing this video around to people who may be interested in it. Or if you just wanted to see some more of the kinds of things that I make, I do reviews of gear, like why is there a guitar pick underneath my watch band? Or knife modifications, such as this nifty Fingerchoil right here, or that wave feature right there. If you don't know what a wave is on a knife, you should click through and find out what a wave is. I also teach shoelace tying, and that's not as silly as it sounds. Believe me, I can tie a shoelace faster than you would believe, unless you've already seen it done, in which case, did you know that there's a secure version? Alright, so shoelace, start, finish. Very fast. Alright. Thank you very much for watching.